The moment she said it, something inside me cracked right down the middle, a sharp, violent fracture that echoed through the quiet bedroom we had shared for 5 years. She was standing at the edge of the mattress, her movements smooth as she zipped up that bright red suitcase I'd bought her for Christmas last year, tossing in expensive heels she hadn't worn in ages and unfamiliar lingerie that certainly wasn't meant for my eyes. Her lips curved into a slow, mocking smirk, the kind worn by villains in bad melodramatic soaps. She didn't even bother to hide it anymore. "You can't stop me," she whispered, her voice laced with a cold defiance that chilled me to the bone. "I'm going to impress him." My heart didn't just drop. It shattered completely on the way down, leaving a hollow, burning void in my chest. I couldn't move, couldn't speak, just stood frozen in the doorway, like a ghost haunting the ruins of a life I thought was secure, watching my wife pack for a weekend getaway with another man. Her name is Lindsay Morgan, the woman I had promised to cherish in front of 200 witnesses who applauded our vows of forever and loyalty. I vividly remembered how her voice had cracked during the "Till Death Do Us Part" segment, how I had foolishly assumed it was overwhelming emotion, only to realize years later it was nothing more than chilling foreshadowing. "Who the hell is he?" I finally choked out, the words tasting like ash on my tongue. She didn't even look up from her packing, merely rolling up a silk nightgown I hadn't seen her wear in months. "You don't know him, and it doesn't matter," she replied with chilling indifference. "He's better for me. Ambitious, alive, not trapped in the stagnant routine that defines your pathetic existence." My chest tightened into a knot of pure rage, a suffocating pressure urging me to scream, to smash something, to demand answers. But I remained paralyzed, watching the demolition of my world the way a homeowner watches their house burn from the front lawn, entirely helpless. Her casual demeanor sickened me, treating infidelity not as a moral failure, but as some bold badge of personal independence. She was entirely confident that I was too weak to react, expecting me to curl up in the dark and weep while she flew off to indulge her selfish fantasies. Lindsay used to light up the moment I walked into a room, but lately I had been reduced to background noise. She grabbed a handful of lace from her drawer, locking those once captivating green eyes onto mine with utter disdain, telling me I was overreacting, that I should just let her live a little. Let her live. I was the one who worked 60-hour weeks to put food on our table, who paid for the very suitcase she was packing, the car she was driving to the airport, and the bed she had used to orchestrate her web of lies. "Are you seriously sure about this?" I asked, my voice dropping to a low, trembling register. "You really want to throw this away?" That infuriating smirk returned to her lips as she declared there was no us anymore, zipping the bag shut and walking right past me as if I were nothing more than a piece of discarded furniture. The next morning broke with a heavy, oppressive silence that magnified the dull, pounding headache of too much alcohol and too little sleep. Driven by a volatile mix of raw instinct and spiteful curiosity, I walked slowly over to her nightstand, pulled open the drawer, and found what she had thought was safely hidden, a cheap, scratched-up burner phone. I unlocked it instantly, finding no passcode because her staggering arrogance had convinced her I was too oblivious to ever look, and stared down at the digital graveyard of my marriage. It held a relentless flood of hundreds of messages from a man named Chad Thompson, a slick-tongued marketer at her firm, who conveniently shared a wife and 2 young children at home. The screen scrolled endlessly, with sickening endearments, promises of wild weekends, and explicit plans. Words like, "I can't wait to see you in that red dress. He doesn't deserve you. I'll make you feel like a queen." It ignited a scorching fire beneath my skin. They had taken photos right in our home, mirror selfies in our bathroom, and even a video shot in the guest room, turning our sanctuary into a sleazy playground where my existence was reduced to an embarrassing punchline. I texted her a single word. "Why?" She didn't reply, but around noon, my old college buddy Tyler texted a blurry photo of Lindsay walking arm in arm through the airport terminal with Chad, both of them laughing without a shred of shame. I called her straight to voicemail, prompting a curt text back. "I told you not to make this messy. Please don't embarrass yourself." Embarrass myself? The boiling rage inside me finally eclipsed all reason. I knew where Chad lived because I had driven Lindsay there months prior when her car was in the shop, her innocent excuse at the time being an office retreat planning session. Driving into his pristine suburban neighborhood around 2 in the afternoon felt surreal, surrounded by manicured lawns and smiling families enjoying a Saturday afternoon. Chad's wife, Rebecca, answered the front door with tired, gentle eyes and a sweet, welcoming smile. I introduced myself quietly, telling her the painful truth that we needed to talk immediately about our respective spouses, and watched as the color drained entirely from her face. We sat in her quiet living room where she poured 2 glasses of wine with trembling hands, listening in stunned silence as I laid out the indisputable digital evidence. Rebecca pulled out a printed receipt for a Miami hotel booked under their real names, proving they weren't even trying to hide anymore. Excusing herself mutely to the kitchen, Rebecca dissolved into deep, guttural sobs that echoed through the quiet house, a sound so laden with shared devastation that I couldn't even bring myself to offer comfort. When I arrived back at my empty house, her heavy perfume still lingered in the air, like an insulting phantom. I logged into our shared cloud drive, discovering an expansive, unhidden album documenting their illicit affair, crowned by a photo of Lindsay wearing a blue bikini I had purchased for our anniversary trip to Aruba, a swimsuit she had stubbornly refused to wear for me, paired with a smug caption boasting about impressing her new man just fine. That photograph snapped the final tether of my restraint. I slammed the laptop shut, marched over to the china cabinet, and hurled a pristine wedding plate directly against the brick fireplace, watching the white shards scatter across the hearth. Just then, the front door swung open. Lindsay strolled into the kitchen, rolling her red suitcase behind her. "My flight got cancelled," she announced casually, kicking off her shoes. "Miami got slammed with heavy storms." She noticed the broken ceramic, glittering across the floor, and raised an eyebrow. "What kind of pathetic tantrum is this?" "Sit down," I commanded, my voice dropping into a register, so chillingly low that she actually paused. I slid the cracked burner phone across the granite countertop toward her. She shrugged off the discovery, reiterating that I couldn't stop her because she simply needed more than the dull existence I was providing. "You come home, eat dinner, watch the same shows. You stopped being a man. You became furniture. And Chad," I snapped. "He's the exciting option? A married guy with 2 kids?" She laughed, a dry, nasty sound. "He's more of a man than you've ever been. You have been sleeping with him in our home, in our bed." She didn't deny it. A strange, terrifying calm washed over me. I picked up a thick manila folder from the table and dropped it squarely in front of her. "What's this?" She frowned. "Divorce papers," I answered evenly. "Already filed, accompanied by absolute proof of your infidelity, sent straight to my legal team. Your little beach photos are going to look real nice in court." Her face twitched violently, the smug smirk completely shattering as she stammered that I was blowing things out of proportion. "No," I replied, maintaining a glass-smooth composure. "I am simply being the man you forced me to become." I grabbed my car keys and walked out of the house for the final time. As I stepped onto the porch, she shrieked after me that I would live to regret this. I paused at the threshold. "My only regret is ever believing you were anything more than a lie I married." I checked into a seedy highway motel reeking of bleach, a dismal sanctuary that asked 0 questions. Over the next few days, I methodically dismantled my old life, calling my attorney, freezing joint accounts, and untangling 5 years of shared existence. I stayed in touch with Rebecca, 2 shipwrecked souls sharing raw updates and mutual support as she filed for divorce against Chad as well. A few days later, Lindsay materialized unannounced outside my motel door, looking unraveled, with dark circles carved deep beneath her eyes. "He doesn't even want me now," she confessed quietly, stepping into the cramped room. After the trip fell through, Chad panicked, said it was getting too real, called me crazy, and blocked my number. I stared at her in utter disbelief, as the bitter irony washed over her. She had torched a secure marriage for a cowardly opportunist who viewed her as nothing more than a weekend distraction. You burned your whole life down for a guy who saw you as disposable, and now you expect me to be your backup plan. Ethan, please, she sobbed. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. That makes two of us, I said coldly. Now get out. The following morning greeted me with a deep, restorative calm. I checked out of the motel, found a sleek apartment downtown, and paid 6 months up front.